My name's Daraksha. I live in a place called Wadala in the city of Mumbai, India. Today, I want to tell you about a story of one of my friends, Aisha. Before I begin the story, let me tell you that the area where we lived in is located next to the railway tracks. Though it's not really a slum, it's not very developed either. In order to get clean drinking water, there's a community tap in the middle of the neighborhood where every morning at 4:30 a.m. the water starts to flow, and people have to stand in queue in order to get their share of the water for the day. Aisha was in charge of getting up every morning and standing in queue for the drinking water for her home. But every morning, by the time she would get there, she would be late and the queue for the line was already so long. So, one day, she decided that she would get up extra early and went out to get the water at 3 o'clock in the morning. She figured there would be no one around at this time and that she would be the first person in line. This would mean she could quickly get the water and come back. She awoke, ready to go, and quickly collected the water pot and hurried off and then reached the community tap. She saw a woman had beat her there and had already been sitting in the front of the line. Although she wasn't first, she felt relieved, thinking there was only one person before her in the queue. Her plan would still work, she thought, as one person meant that she could still quickly fill the water and get back home. Aisha lined up behind the woman and decided to be friendly and make conversation. She asked the woman, "Hey, looks like it's just us here for water today." To which the woman replied, "Go away from here, otherwise I will kill you." Aisha was shocked to hear the woman's words. She wasn't expecting that and felt very insulted and thought maybe this woman was looking to pick a fight. Aisha was known to be bold and brave, and so she replied, "Who the hell are you to say this to me? It's not your dad's tap. You should learn to share, and somebody should teach you some manners." Aisha didn't know what hit her at first, because as soon as she was done talking, the woman quickly got up and slapped Aisha so hard she fell and hit the ground. And then she came and stood right in front of Aisha and said, "I told you to get away from here, but you didn't listen. Now see what I will do to you." When Aisha saw the woman's face, she got terrified. The woman's face started to change, became twisted and grotesque. Her face melted away, leaving Aisha with the sight so horrifying that she fainted and lost consciousness. It was starting to get late in the day, and after some time, when she didn't come back home, her mother and her brother came looking for her. They saw her lying unconscious there near the tap, and quickly took her back home. But upon reaching the house, they noticed Aisha's face had become warped and twisted. She was almost unrecognizable. For 2 days, she remained unconscious. Nobody knew what happened to her. Her family got really worried seeing her like this. Then, 2 days later, when she finally awoke, she cleared her eyes and caught sight of her face. Her parents took her to many doctors with little to no hope. Each doctor said the same thing. Her face could not be cured, and she will remain twisted forever. This is a good time to share that Aisha was supposed to get married 2 months after that incident. Her parents had arranged for her marriage, and they feared that if her in-laws came to know of her condition, they would cancel the marriage. And unfortunately, that is exactly what happened. As time passed on, Aisha slipped into madness, and soon afterwards was possessed by a spirit. Every time that spirit would come into her body, it would make her do really obscene things. One incident, she came in front of her father and her brother, and exposed her chest and her body, and that's the least of it that I can share with you. Her madness grew out of control, And although I am able to share this part of the story, out of respect for Aisha, I can tell you that they went far beyond that. Shortly after the marriage was broken off, Aisha's parents had become really worried. People started talking all sorts of things about their daughter. So, one day they decided to take her to a very famous dargah of Mumbai, the Marie Ali Darta Dargah. This is a very famous dargah in Mumbai, which is known for the practice of exorcisms for demonic entities and evil spirits from the human body. Aisha resisted and wasn't willing to go to the dargah, but somehow her father and her brother managed to drag her into the car, kicking and screaming. As soon as she stepped inside the dargah, she started abusing and swearing at everyone. And then the Maldive of the dargah made her sit before him and started beating the spirit with a peacock feather. That peacock feather wasn't hurting Aisha's physical body, but it was causing a lot of pain to the spirit inside her. The Maldive asked, "Tell me, who are you, and why are you tormenting this girl?" The spirit answered, "My name is Meena. I used to live in a nearby area called Goragan. I used to live alone in that rented flat. Some girls of that area became my friends there, and they started coming to my flat with their boyfriends. One night, they all planned to come to my flat and have an alcohol party. I was a simple girl. I didn't like that at all. I tried telling them many times not to come to my flat, but they wouldn't listen. One night, 2 girls came to my flat with 4 other guys, and they started having drinks at my place. I tried to tell them to stop, and they beat me. All those 4 guys beat me and raped me. A few days later, the girls came back again to my place with those same boys. I was so angry at that girl that I hit her in the head with a clay pot and I busted her face open. Her friends saw that I hurt her, and the guys started beating me again, mercilessly, and after beating me, they took me outside. They left me to die on the railway tracks. I died there laying on the tracks as I succumbed to my injuries well before a train could hit me. Since then, my spirit wanders around that railway tracks. I hate young boys and girls." The Maldive then asked her, "I understand wrong things have happened to you, but why are you tormenting this innocent girl? Do you realize you have made her life a living hell? Why do you spoil her character in front of her family, doing all those obscene acts?" To which the spirit replied angrily, "I was an innocent girl too, but nobody cared about me. Nobody cared about my character, my image, so why should I care about her? I will keep insulting her in front of her father and her brother, and she will never be a pure, innocent girl, ever again." And then she started laughing hysterically. Eventually, the Maldive was able to exorcise Aisha and got the spirit out of her body, but it was too late, as a few days later, Aisha committed suicide by jumping off their house terrace. After all those shameful, obscene acts, which the spirit made her do, Aisha was not able to look at anybody in the eyes, especially those of her father and her brother. She was too ashamed and decided to take her own life. Even after the spirit was gone, her face never healed, and she was stuck like that forever. Now that she's gone, people in the neighborhood say that Aisha's spirit can still be seen lurking around the railway tracks and the water tap. Although many people have seen her, they say that the spirit is different. Aisha's spirit is still that of an innocent girl, and it's to this day that she hasn't hurt anybody yet. Well, friends, how'd you like today's story?
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for this channel to listen each and every weekday for more real horror stories. We got a ton of amazing real horror stories, and we're dying to share them with you. So until then, stay out of the dark and stay tuned for our next video.